We live in a world overflowing with information. It's everywhere, surrounding us at every turn, on our phones, our TVs, even blasted onto the sides of buses and buildings. We are constantly bombarded with facts, figures, and opinions from every conceivable source. Sometimes it feels like we're drowning in it all, unable to catch a breath. This constant flow of data can be overwhelming, making it hard to focus. It's hard to know what to trust, what to ignore, and what to believe in this sea of information. Before we can even begin to navigate this digital landscape, we need to define our terms and understand the basics. What are we even talking about when we say information? What does it truly mean? In the simplest terms, information is processed, organized, and structured data that makes sense to us. It's the stuff that tells us about the world around us, shaping our understanding. But here's the catch. Not all information is created equal. Some of it can be very misleading. Some information is accurate and reliable, backed by evidence and research. Some is misleading or completely false, designed to deceive or misinform. And then there's everything in between, a mix of truth and falsehoods. This is where things get tricky and complicated. We need to be able to tell the difference between good information and bad information, a skill that's more crucial than ever. Our ability to function in the 21st century depends on it, shaping our decisions and actions every day. Let's talk about misinformation. It's like that friend who shows up to a party with the wrong date, at the wrong time, wearing Crocs. They didn't mean to cause any harm, they're just clueless. Misinformation is false or inaccurate information that is spread, regardless of intent to deceive. It's often shared by people who genuinely believe it to be true. Think of it like this. You see a post on social media claiming that eating pineapple makes your hair grow faster. You share it with your friends because, hey, who doesn't want luscious locks? Turns out it's a complete myth. You've just spread misinformation. Oopsie daisy. Misinformation can be spread in many ways. Sometimes it's a simple misunderstanding or misinterpretation of facts. Other times it's a deliberate attempt to mislead, but without malicious intent. This is where disinformation comes in, but we'll get to that later. Disinformation is a whole different beast. If misinformation is your clueless friend, then disinformation is that friend's shady cousin who keeps trying to sell you a fake Rolex. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it for their own benefit. Disinformation is false information that is deliberately created and spread to deceive or mislead people. Think of it like this. A political campaign creates and spreads a fake news article about their opponent, claiming they are secretly a lizard person because politics. This is a deliberate attempt to manipulate public opinion with false information. That's disinformation in action. Disinformation is a powerful tool. It can be used to sway elections, incite violence, and sow discord among the population. It's a threat to democracy and a danger to society. We need to be aware of it and actively work to combat it. Now, let's talk about social media. It's the digital town square, the global water cooler where conversations never stop and the world feels a little smaller. It's the place where everyone goes to share their thoughts, feelings, and pictures of their lunch. From selfies to food photos, it's all there. Social media has connected us in ways we never thought possible. It bridges distances, allowing us to stay in touch with loved ones and meet new people from around the globe. But it's also created a breeding ground for misinformation and disinformation to flourish. The same platform that connects us can also divide us. Think about it. Social media algorithms are designed to keep you engaged. They learn your preferences and show you more of what you like. They show you content they think you'll like, regardless of its accuracy. This can lead to a distorted view of reality. This creates echo chambers where people are only exposed to information that confirms their existing biases. It reinforces what we already believe. It's like living in a world where everyone agrees with you all the time. Sounds great in theory, right? But in reality, it makes us more susceptible to misinformation and less likely to question what we see online. Critical thinking takes a back seat. Social media platforms are also rife with bots and trolls who spread misinformation and disinformation for profit or political gain. They are the unseen manipulators. These bad actors exploit the speed and reach of social media to amplify their message and manipulate public opinion. They know how to play the game. Section 5. Spotting the fake, how to be a disinformation detective. So how do we navigate this minefield of misinformation? How do we separate fact from fiction in the digital age? The first step is to be more critical of the information we encounter online. Don't believe everything you read. Just because it's on the internet doesn't make it true. Look for red flags. Does the information come from a credible source? Are there spelling or grammatical errors? Does it seem too good to be true? If so, it probably is. Check multiple sources to verify the information. Don't rely on a single website or social media post. Look for evidence-based reporting from reputable news organizations. Remember, if something seems off, it probably is. Trust your gut and don't be afraid to question what you see online. Section 6. Critical thinking, your brain's best defense. In the age of information overload, critical thinking is more important than ever. It's our best defense against the onslaught of misinformation and disinformation. But what is critical thinking? It's the ability to think clearly and rationally, to question information, and to form your own judgments based on evidence. It's about asking questions like, who created this information? Why was it created? What evidence is there to support it? What are the other perspectives on this issue? Critical thinking isn't about being cynical or distrustful of everything you see. It's about being an active and engaged consumer of information. It's about using your brain to sift through the noise and get to the truth. Section 7, the ripple effect, why it matters. Why does all of this matter? Why should we invest our time and energy into understanding the impact of misinformation and disinformation? Why should we care about misinformation and disinformation? The answer lies in the profound effects these falsehoods can have on our world, because the consequences can be real and far-reaching, affecting every aspect of our lives. Misinformation can have a devastating impact on individuals and society as a whole, leading to confusion and mistrust. It can erode trust in institutions, fuel social unrest, and even put lives at risk. The stability of our communities depends on the accuracy of the information we consume. Think about the spread of misinformation about vaccines. This is a critical issue that affects public health directly. False claims about vaccines causing autism or other health problems have led to a decline in vaccination rates, resulting in outbreaks of preventable diseases. This shows how dangerous misinformation can be. This is just one example of how misinformation can have real-world consequences, impacting the health and safety of communities. Disinformation, with its deliberate intent to deceive, can be even more insidious and harmful. It can be used to manipulate public opinion, influence elections, and even incite violence. The stakes are incredibly high. The spread of disinformation erodes trust in democracy and undermines social cohesion, creating divisions within society. It's a threat we must take seriously. Our collective future depends on our ability to discern truth from falsehood. Section 8. Fighting back. Don't let the liars win. The fight against misinformation and disinformation is a collective effort. We all have a role to play in stopping the spread of harmful falsehoods. We can't just sit back and hope for the best. We need to be proactive in combating this threat to our information ecosystem. So, what can we do? First and foremost, be careful about what you share online. Don't just hit the share button without thinking critically about the information you're spreading. Verify information before you share it. Check multiple sources to make sure it's accurate. If you see someone sharing misinformation, don't be afraid to speak up and correct them. Politely point them to credible sources of information. Support organizations that are working to combat misinformation and promote media literacy. There are many great organizations out there doing important work in this area. Section 9. A call to arms. Be the change you want to see online. We need to be more vigilant about the information we consume and share online. We need to be critical thinkers, asking questions and demanding evidence. We need to be mindful of our own biases and be willing to consider different perspectives. The internet has given us access to more information than ever before, but it's also given us more ways to be misled. It's up to us to be discerning consumers of information, to seek out the truth, and to help create a more informed and responsible online world. Let's work together to make the internet a place where truth prevails, where critical thinking is the norm, and where misinformation and disinformation are relegated to the digital dustbin of history. The future of our democracy might just depend on it.